I will now read out for you quickly a list of allegations against Keith Christopher Rowley directly, not ministers under him. Corruption allegations linking or directly linked to Keith Christopher Rowley. Are you all ready? Not as, oh, he's the prime minister, and he have to accept responsibility for all and all. Not that. I am going to quickly list out, and then in detail after, allegations of corruption in the last 6 years only as Keith Christopher Rowley was prime minister, which are directly related to him, his hand in it, his decision, him as his line minister, his decisions, his work, his connection. Are you all ready? Bridgman's Charter Party Agreement, approved by him, prime ministerial approval on the phone while he was in Tobago. UD cut 180 million first loan to NCB Global, which is Angus Young, Stuart Young brother. UD cut was moved from under HDC to under the office of the Prime Minister just 8 days before that was awarded. And when Munilal asked Rowley in the Parliament why he moved UD cut under him, Rowley lied to the Parliament and said he never did it. The ferries in Australia, procurement. Rowley went down to Australia with Stuart Smallpin, went and tore and procured 2 ferries and 2 cutlass vessels without procurement, without tender, without competition. Come and tell all you, it's government to government. It had nothing to do with government to government. He called government to government, meaning they take a loan from Australia. A loan is not government to government. A loan you borrow, they have to flip in payback. Cutlass vessels from Australia. He purchased cutlass vessels for the Coast Guard without any request from the Coast Guard, no audit from the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard never asked for it. He and Rowley and Smallpin directly went and bought cutlass vessels. The HDC contract that was eventually rescinded by the cabinet when it burst in the media. This over $500 million contract with the Chinese company with sweetheart deal about forward pay money, advance payment, and all sort of sweetheart deals never before seen in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Keith Rowley was the line minister. At that time, Keith Rowley was the housing minister at the time of that contract. Direct allegations of corruption. Direct. Rowley, housing minister, HDC contract, corruption, rescinded. Direct. No left side, right side, no distance. Sandals, Tobago. Rowley was playing golf as opposition leader. Rowley went with the friend Butch. Rowley told him but to quickly put the land from Clico into the Ministry of Finance. Rowley told Butch he will get the land. No tender, no competition, no THA, no consultation, no best offer, no request for proposals. Just hand off thing and then wanted to borrow $7 billion for y'all to pay back. Direct hands of Rowley. He was caught lying by Robert Amar. Vaccines, the loan from China, no procurement, 351,000 Pfizer was available in February, early March, and he kept spreading it even though Convent Girl had it available with Ansa McCall. Then they attacked Ansa McCall. Why? Because they were negotiating a loan for $205 million US with China, and they wanted to buy 15% of that was to buy Sinopharm vaccine, and it's a non-disclosure. We don't know what they pay, who they pay, and where it gone. That is Rowley directly, because the Ministry of Health under Convent Girl, the one thing he was doing good was getting Pfizer early, and even that he wasn't allowed to do. Petrotrain shut down. 3 reports say don't shut it down. Rowley lie and say the board tell him to shut it down. Never said to shut it down. Winfred Espinay went in court and said, I never tell the cabinet, never tell Rowley to shut it down. Rowley shut it down. He lied to y'all and said, close your fridge. And I'm not shutting down Petrotrain. But it shut down. Why it shut down? And then he lied to Patriotic Energies to say to Mama Guy people to stay in power, that the labor union will be given Petrotrain refinery in order to turn them into businessmen. That is direct Rowley. No separation. That is direct Rowley decision. And what was it? Then why was it shut down? Who knows? But the same time, Rowley was the prime minister. fake oil allegations. His good friend that he admitted his friend Nazim Baksh was allegations made by his PNM board. He fired the PNM board. He put an ex-PNM board. The PNM board was moving ahead against A&V. Rowley shut down the whole refinery and cat-spread the whole thing. Shut down Petrotrin, mash it up, and then put his personal attorney in charge of Heritage, which was in charge of all of the information, the logbooks, the statements, the witnesses, all of that to gather evidence on the fake oil matter. He put his personal attorney, AA Kwamina there. And then all of a sudden, an arbitration came. And the government lost on your behalf. But the government attorney, senior counsel, Deborah Peake says, appeal this is nonsense, and bam, bam, bam. And Rowley's lawyer, personal lawyer, lets you all wait, and then cuts a deal with Rowley's personal friend. Rowley's the head of the National Security Council on which investigations could go through. Then, and civil lawsuits with the Attorney General. Rowley was the head of Petrotrin. Rowley did not recuse himself. Rowley admitted to you in the public, that is my friend. And we see that his friend, the investigation has gone away. The arbitration has gone away. No appeal, it went away. And now his friend gets $118 million plus a 10-year brand new contract. That is Rowley, and Rowley. You see? Anything you say about Kamala, you have to say something about Anel, this, Live Sport, Munilal, some sort of indirect nonsense which didn't pan out anyway. But everything you say about Rowley is Rowley. Direct Rowley. Rowley. Oh, look, I've not done that yet. Malcolm Jones case withdrawn. Malcolm Jones and the PNM wasted $13 billion. Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC had them in court. Rowley and his super small pin, and small pin was Malcolm Jones' lawyer. They just pull out, they announce that the case will fall. They get QC Nelson, the very same QC Nelson, who had said in a 12 or 20 page document why the case must go forward. He write an unsolicited one paragraph to say, nah boy, the case weak. And Rowley, Small Pin and Al-Rawi pull Malcolm Jones out of court. And therefore you cannot recoup your $3 billion that was there. The Privy Council had to say that this is smelling of disgusting politics. The Privy Council law lords were laughing at Trinidad and Tobago because they had even advertised beforehand, 2 days beforehand, that they were going to withdraw the case. They also withdrew the case against Ken Julian, the czar of Rowley. Rowley big up Ken Julian. He says his wife buffed him because he wanted to take Ken Julian to Africa. And Ken Julian, and they signed deals with Philip Julian and Conrad Enel at NGC. And I asked Conrad Enel, are you related to Philip Julian? Who is your daddy, Conrad Enel? But Rowley again. Ken Julian's case for $31 million spent of your taxpayers' money that Kamala Prasad Bisesa was trying to recover. Rowley pulled Ken Julian through Al-Rawi out of court. The Police Service Commission, we have no police commissioner. It is directly Keith Rowley that admitted that he interfered, that he lost confidence in Gary, and he interfered and he wrote Bliss C. Prasad, and he involved the president, and the president allowed the list to be withdrawn. The most corrupt issue and constitutional trampling in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, directly involving the Prime Minister, Keith Rowley. The indemnity with QC Nelson, Rowley defended it on the platform and told, and had basically admitted that he gave the Attorney General instructions to interfere with a witness in a criminal case, which is the sole purview of the DPP. Rowley got up in public and defended that indemnity immunity with QC Nelson, and I'm still waiting to hear what the DPP office have to say about that. But that is Rowley directly. The DSS investigation. Remember DSS? All kind of rumors, all kind of talk about politics, money for vote, all kind of thing. Where the money come from? Rowley intervened, and Rowley decided to play Commissioner of Police and to appoint special police from Barbados and all over to investigate DSS. Rowley directly involved in that DSS allegation and corruption and MP and election and all of that. Directly. All you getting bored yet? Huh? When I tell you it's systemic corruption under Rowley, all you will understand. The Houston negotiations. Normally you have people, you have a Minister of Energy, you have the board of NGC, you have the engineers at NGC hired who went through headhunting and went through the interviews and employed their very intelligent people who will conduct negotiations with upstreamers and so on. Rowley and Smallpin, put them aside. Rowley sat down with EOG and BPTT in Houston in 2017, and you, the people, lost over $5 billion US since then. When have you all ever heard that? If you all think that something there smells rotten, the fish rots from the head, and Rowley's the head. Delcy Rodriguez visit. Could you remember when Kamla Prasad Bisesa, while all of you were locked out of your own country, and Kamla Prasad Bisesa said, but look at this, a sanctioned jet from a narco-terrorist, indicted leader with his vice presidente, landed at Piaco with the permission of Smallpin to meet directly with Keith Rowley. So the permission of Keith Rowley, Delcy Rodriguez, and 5 PDVSA officials, Astrubal Chavez, landed here and went to meet him directly in a pandemic. They didn't go and meet nobody else and then allegations of corruption. They went straight to Keith Christopher Rowley in the face. Then after that, Paria Fuel, Keith Rowley. Newman George was in that meeting with Keith Rowley. Newman George, Keith Rowley's friend of 50 years, started to purchase fuel from Wilmer Rumpeti and Trafigura. Trafigura brought it into Point-a-Pay, and Wilmer Rumpeti, ES Euro Shipping, took it out, and it went to Palo Alito, Venezuela. Direct. We thought it was only 118,000 barrels. And when I asked Franklin Can, it turned out to be 1.2 million barrels of fuel purchased from Venezuela for Venezuela from Wilmer Rumpeti, who is Maduro's sidekick. Direct Rowley link. No degrees of separation. NGC train wastage. Rowley boasting is 228 million. And they have another 140 million that they had approved to spend. And he continuing negotiations, so it's still spending. Plus, he forgot to add on the 200 million for the combustion system that was not necessary, and another 200 million on a failed project. Some $700 million thrown down the drain, and Rowley directly involved from the Houston negotiation to Mark Lokwang to Stuart Smallpin Young, who is the Minister of Energy and Minister in the Office of Prime Minister, with Rowley's finger right on the pulse of the wastage and corruption at NGC. 210 recusals in 5 years. In 5 years, you only have 260 cabinet meetings. 260. There were 210 recusals by Rowley's ministers, including Rowley himself, during that time. Direct involvement in allegations of corruption. Keith Christopher Rowley. Keith Christopher Rowley defended the rental and the outfitting of the Attorney General's building. He sat in the cabinet and approved that directly, and came out and directly defended it and said nothing wrong with that. A repo farm, they say it's a farm, but some people say it's a bluestone quarry. There are links directly to Keith Rowley and his farm in Tobago that are being investigated as we speak. How was that tendered? How did they get that? What was the link? What did Rowley pay for all them sheep he have on the farm? Who did he get them from? Is there any link between the contractor there and the person who has these elite animals and Rowley? Investigation direct. No separation. Bunkering deal. Rowley's senior counsel, Gilbert Peterson, who we don't know anything about Gilbert Peterson ever being in any energy thing. All these lawyers jumping into the energy now. They may spend their years in engineering and at UE and so on. Them is lawyers, senior counsel. All of a sudden, Rowley's good friend, attorney, one of his attorneys, get bunkering contract. Bagatelle Stadium. Rowley wanted to build that before 2010. SRI was the contractor. I was the minister. They refused to continue the contract because they wanted $35 million for what the engineers at the sport company said amounted to $6.7 million. And that was the only money approved to pay them. Rowley and them, as soon as Kamala lost, they moved that stadium from the sport company to Udicott under Noel Garcia. And SRI, who Rowley does play golf with directly, got the contract. And that stadium built for 120, 130 million. And now they have a phase 2. What was the tendering? Was there any tendering? Did they pay the 35 million that was not approved by the civil servants, by the engineers? And that is direct Rowley, friend. Not no in between, not no by the way, not no, oh, he's the prime minister and he must take responsibility. All of these allegations are direct Rowley. He takes selection of Tobago land to Rowley's boys at Rocky Point. No THA, no involvement of Tobago. Rowley again for a hotel with superior to bill with only 27 days to make a tender and an RFP and no international requests for tenders for such a beautiful, pristine place. Stuart Young's letter, remember? He signed a letter instructing board to pay bills at PTSC. Whatever happened with that? Police, what happened? That's why they want to control the police, so the police just do nothing. Balize House construction. All of that there, you go and look at it. It looks like about $110 million of work. Rowley claims that was raffle ticket. Nobody ain't buy no flipping raffle ticket. He was outside Price Mart for about 2 hours and only 5 people went and take picture with him. Nobody ain't buy no raffle ticket. They couldn't sell no raffle ticket. There are no audit on that. But Rowley is directly involved in that. How Balize House going up to the sky. Those are some of the allegations against Keith Christopher Rowley as Prime Minister. Direct. So when all you say come, and on top of that, Rowley ain't performing nothing. You have no water, you have no electricity, everything going up. He take your gas subsidy, he take your laptops. He had built 1 school in 5 years. He now opened 4 schools that Tim left at 95%. He cut sport, he cut culture, he cut textbooks, he closed down MIC, he closed down NIC, he closed down NESC, he closed down school feeding, cut it down from 76,000 meals to 48,000 meals. He cut everything for black people, no medicine in the hospital. And on top of that, all of those allegations directly involving Keith Rowley. Direct. We're going to take a little break. And then I'm going to, I'm going to show you why we are now in a state of systemic corruption under Keith Rowley. All of that happened with him directly. But the story don't end there. Because from him, he has branched out a web of close confidants who control your money. And I ask you to think, what is the anti-corruption move? Is it better to have many people, many eyes, many ears, many hearts, many mouths checking on your money? Doesn't that make it safer? So if there's a web of closely connected confidants of this Prime Minister, who I just read out a list of direct allegations of corruption against he in 6 years, This is not 60 years I just read out there. In 6 years, and I just off the top of my head, I miss out some. Or you're saying, Barney, you miss out this, you miss out that. But when we come back, I will show you how this corrupt mind has turned into Trinidad and Tobago now. Systemic corruption across the board. And y'all, even PNM people must say, no. This is too much. We coming back.